Hello and welcome to the fifth episode of the MaxYaks podcast. Why did I say third? I said third because this is our third time recording this. First two times, I had it on the wrong settings, so we sounded very far away. I'm with Callum Noonan.
Hello for the third time.
So, you told me to write down something about conspiracy theories. What's that about?
It is my secret interest. I've always found the weird conspiracy theories interesting, even if I don't believe them.
Like, for example, what?
I was talking with someone about this one. She said that Justin Trudeau is actually the son of Fidel Castro. And I was like, okay, that's bullshit. Get out of here, right?
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, Justin's mom actually spent large extended periods of time in Cuba. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, that doesn't mean she's banging Fidel Castro. And then she's like, just look at a picture of Justin Trudeau and Fidel Castro next to each other. They actually look really similar. And I'm like, oh, well, there's actually a chance that could happen.
I thought about that, but I watched a video on it. There's no possible way because unless Justin Trudeau's mom took random trips to Cuba without anybody knowing, and there's no records of it, because when he was born, the first time that both the Trudeaus officially visited Cuba, Justin was almost born already, so it couldn't have been possible. That's what I was thinking.
All right, well, I stand corrected then. There's no way it could have happened. Glad that got cleared up.
Any others?
Oh, just the flat earth stuff,
Yeah.
9/11 was an inside job, all that kind of crap.
Okay, the 9/11 thing is kind of...
I don't believe it, but it's just kind of interesting to hear.
Yeah, I could see it. Just so there's so much evidence for it, but there's so much evidence against it. It's like...
That's why it's a conspiracy theory, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I believe that they happen. I just like to hear the alternatives to what we think happened, right?
Yeah, I love that. Hearing somebody talk about hating theater or something like that. It's cool to see why they don't like it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, right?
So you and I have really gotten close friends because of theater. How did you get pulled into the theater world?
I just kind of took it in grade 7 because it was on my schedule, and I just ended up loving it. We did our own mini play and everything, and it was super interesting, and I just loved it, and it was just something I was like, yeah, this is something I can do.
Cool. Do you remember what you played in that?
The murderer preacher.
Oh.
It was a weird mystery but comedy one.
Oh yeah.
Almost Clue, it felt like. It was really bad. It was grade 7 theater, right?
Oh yeah.
It was fun. Who killed the owner of this mansion for the will, right? That kind of plot.
Oh, I remember I had to do choreography for my grade 7 show. I don't know how grade 7 people can have so much drama, but we had to get teachers involved so many times because somebody was crying or somebody was being left out.
Yeah, I don't know how we managed to do drama in grade 7. I really don't.
There was probably minimal focus.
Yeah, all I remember was having a blast because I wasn't doing any work.
Honestly, best part about theater, you're not actually doing work if you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, that's true. All through rehearsals and stuff, it never really felt like work.
So where you and I, our friendship took off was Drama 20. So what do you think of Drama 20 as your first show?
I really did love it, and being surrounded by so much talent and people who have taken drama seriously for so long, I feel like it really made me a better person and a better actor. Just being surrounded by so much talent, it really forces you to bring yourself up to another level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being in those casual grade 9, grade 10 drama courses, right, where half the people are there just because they're not allowed to spare, right?
Yeah.
And then finally being surrounded by everyone who takes it as seriously as you really ends up making it a much better experience.
Yeah. that I love being, especially in like community theater, because everybody wants to be there because you had to audition to do it. So everybody loves to do that. It's their passion. So it's nice to be surrounded by people with a common interest.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like it'd be the same with football.
Yeah, like I felt like a lot of stuff from sports very minimally transferred over into drama for me.
Yeah. Like socially wise, do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like obviously catching a ball does not transfer into acting on stage, but like being able to talk with people and kind of like have everyone buy into a common goal and a common like theme really builds the production, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, being surrounded by all that positive energy is just so uplifting, and I feel like when you have a lot of people that love doing that, they always want to help you. Because they want the production to be as good as possible, so they try and help you with where you're struggling and things like that.
Oh, absolutely. Like that's what I noticed the most, right? With sports, there's a lot of negative energy at times, right? But in theater, it is all so like positive and constructive, and it's a great environment to be in.
So you are a super sportsy guy as well. How did you get pulled into like the sports scene?
Football was definitely because of my dad. Like he played in university, and growing up, I really looked up to him. So football was something that I wanted to do, and it just ended up working out like super well for me. I really enjoyed playing it, so it's just taken off from there.
Cool. Yeah, and what about basketball? How did you get into that?
I don't even know. I think I was really like pushed to do sports whenever I could, just to like stay active and all that. And in winter, I was just like, okay, I can't skate. What can I do in the winter? Basketball. And then it just ended up playing.
Yeah. Well, which one do you like more, football or basketball?
Football, definitely. Football has been like my passion for a really long time.
That's cool. Has like your dad being your coach, has it affected you on the field or at home?
It's never really affected me on the field. Like our relationship has always been professional.
Yeah.
And like it's always been player coach, never anything more, never anything less. But at home it's definitely been like a little weird, right? Like you can't really say, "Man, I don't really like this coach."
Yeah, that'd be sucky. I feel like it's so good that you and your dad have such a player-coach relationship on the field, because I feel like I'm definitely affected with my dad being my dance teacher. I feel like I definitely get, it's a little harder on me.
Oh yeah, I feel that. But I know that dance can be a little bit more individually, right? Like in football, he is talking to like a team of 40 guys, right? And I feel like dance can be sometimes a lot more individual.
Especially Ukrainian dance, because like so many people have like solos where you have to be on stage basically alone. Well, everybody's just watching you, so I can get that. But yeah, I feel like it's really cool of your dad to just be like, this is not my son at this moment, this is just another player, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know how he made such like a transition into that.
Yeah.
Like from like when I first started playing, he's always been like on the team as a coach, right? So I don't, maybe he's seen it before. I don't know. It was really weird. I don't know how he made that so easy.
Yeah. Which, yeah, because most people, when they do that, they don't realize you're treating somebody differently until you like see it from an outside perspective, you know?
Like no one's ever come up to me and says, "Wow, he really treats you different" or anything, right?
So, do you ever have to go to like these big football events because of him? Like,
I have met my coaches a lot more personally than a lot of other players, right? Because of course he has to host coaches meetings and all that, right? Coaches barbecues, right? So I've gotten to meet a lot of coaches on a bit more of a personal level than a lot of other players, but I don't feel like that's ever made a difference on the team or anything. It's always been like minor, right?
Yeah, that's I feel that with like teachers and stuff, because my mom like knows everybody in the district. She's like, "Oh, say hi to this person from me," and I'm like, "Okay." And then like sometimes I come home and there's like some teacher from our school there, and I'm like,
"Ooh, that'd be a little weird."
Yeah, like, you know, Mr. Perzak?
Yes, I do.
He's always been a family friend. And the year that he was my math teacher, he showed up for Christmas dinner. It was just so weird. It was just like so weird having a teacher at your house when they're your teacher.
Yeah, I can relate. Mr. Billick has stopped by my place a couple times.
Have you ever had Mr. Billick?
No, I've never had Mr. Billick as a teacher, sadly.
Well, have you heard good things about him?
Oh, I've heard nothing but good things about Mr. Billick. Like, I've always played like teacher basketballs on Fridays after school with him and all that, and he's just such a great guy, and he always means so well.
Oh, that's awesome. Kind of like Mr. Roman. He seemed just like a chill dude, you know?
Yeah, he DJs like after school. I can't name a cooler teacher than that.
Speaking of teachers, what do you have next year for classes?
All -1 stuff, social, LA, math, and Bio 30.
Cool. Are you happy with like your teacher selection that you got?
Oh, I'm beyond happy. I got Murawski for social, and that's easily, I think, my favorite teacher because I've never had him before, except for when he subbed for like one social class in grade 10. And he's just so like charismatic and cares about social and cares about you finding success in that class.
Yeah, because I had him for a religion over the summer school, and he was talking about how they're changing the curriculum for social, and he was just like so passionate about how they don't have to teach history anymore, and he was just getting so into it, and I was like, wow, you just like love what you do, and that's awesome.
It's when people care so much about what they do, that's when they really like find success in it, right?
And like where students find success from it.
You can kind of tell when a teacher doesn't really want to be teaching that class, right?
Oh yeah.
And it definitely like seeps into your learning.
Yeah. I hate when students affect the teachers, but like I can't blame them, because if I was a teacher and I had a crappy class, I'd be like, well, you're bringing this upon yourself, you know?
Oh yeah. It definitely affects the teachers.
I would have favorites if I was a teacher. And your other teachers?
I'm getting Herdebees for the 4th year in a row. Thank God. She has been so great to me all throughout like my science career, I guess. Like from grade 9 AP science to like Bio 20, she's always been just incredible and so like pure. And I just love it. It's been great.
What about English?
I've never met this teacher before. I think it's a Smith.
Oh, frick. She's a good teacher. I had her for broadcasting for grade 10. She's a really good teacher as long as you pay attention in class.
I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue, but
as long as you do work and pay attention, you're good, you know? Yeah, I'm really excited to have a really good teacher selection myself, because I have Roman, who I talked about before. He's really good. Johnson, who is the first teacher I've ever met to make English interesting.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Mr. Johnson.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And his voice just like, whew, he has like a little bit of a British accent when he reads, but not when he talks, and like it's just like so creamy and so nice.
Some people just have like those voices where it's just I could listen to this all day.
Bob Ross, the painter guy,
Not
teacher.
right.
Not teacher, not teacher.
I was so confused. I was like, who's Mr. Ross?
Have you ever watched any of his like painting?
No.
I've been planning on it. I've watched a bit, but not much. He just seems like so chill. Like Mr. Rogers too.
Oh yeah.
Have you watched the documentary about Mr. Rogers?
I have not.
Oh, it's so good. You just find out, because the reason why he started Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is because he just saw so many kids shows where it was just mindless nonsense, and he was like, I want to teach the children something in a positive way so they like learn something, but they all also enjoy themselves, and it's like such like a pure thing to do.
That's actually amazing. Like
such a genuine guy.
Just people like that are just so like incredible.
Yeah, going back to like the people who actually like what they do, like teaching, make it so interesting for the students, which is awesome. What are you doing for like university?
I'm planning on going to Grant MacEwan unless like I get lucky enough and get a scholarship offered to me. But if that doesn't happen, then I'm hoping to go to Grant MacEwan.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you don't have any scholarships offered to you yet?
Well, you technically can't get offered until after your grade 12 year, but the under the table stuff definitely happens, right? So
have you ever done any, like, those talent search things? People from different schools come and check out the players for football?
It's like people come out to games and stuff, right? It's never like I've never been specifically asked to like do something in front of a coach, right? Like they always just kind of come out to a game, see what they want to see, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess this last year wasn't very promising then.
Yeah. 0-6 isn't a very good look, but you know, we're going to improve this season, I hope.
What do you think was the cause for doing so poorly?
I think last year we had a lot of new guys, and it's not like we got blown out every game. Like 4 of our games could have easily went either way, right? And we just happened to lose them, right? So
fair enough.
That 0-6 could have easily looked like a 4-2.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks that you just got the short end of the stick this year.
You know, it happens. It's sports.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Have you ever gotten to any like fantasy sports, like fantasy football and things like that?
I've played fantasy football a few times. It drives me nuts because I just always end up picking wrong, right?
Yeah. Is there such thing as fantasy hockey?
Yeah, there's fantasy anything. There's probably fantasy soccer.
Fantasy poker. How have you managed balancing theater and school and football at the same time?
This year was like the first taste of all 3 at once.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like I remember coming home some days and just like, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like I really needed to get that taste this year because next year is going to be a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of good to know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, a little more ease into it because now grades actually matter.
Yeah,
Sucks.
I know.
Are you going to be taking a year off from before you go to school?
No, I probably won't be able to.
Yeah.
Just because if I get out of like this work mentality, I'm going to stay out of the work mentality, right?
Do you know what you want to do at least?
I'm hoping to go into business management and or marketing.
Cool. Why is that?
Because I feel like it's something I could really enjoy doing. Like being able to actually be me and being able to be like charismatic and out there. Like marketing would be great because if you're able to sell a product or an idea that you truly believe in and being able to be excited about it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I'd really have a good time being able to do that for a living.
Well, yeah, because I feel like one of the big pluses for your character is that you're super sociable and you're super charismatic about it. So I feel like that'd be like a perfect job for you.
Like I just couldn't see myself not being able to be myself in a job, right? It'd drive me crazy.
Yeah, I could never see you sitting in a cubicle or doing any office work.
There are very few people I could see doing that, right? Like,
yeah.
But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
How did you figure out that you wanted to do business?
Well, I mean, I just kind of looked at other degrees you can get into and all like the kind of different like wings and all that. And just none of it really seemed like something I'd want to do further down in life. And I just felt like business is something that I could find interest in and find joy in doing later on.
So you don't want to commit all of your time to football then?
Well, I know that being paid to do sports is so slim. Like, if you look at the actual percentages, it's like less than 3, I think, right? So I had to come to terms with that. I had to realize that you need a plan B, right?
Yeah. Would you ever like consider doing theater on the side or like just like as a pastime?
I don't think I'd have time past high school to do that kind of stuff. Like university, I know is going to be tough, and combine that with hopefully football past high school, there's just not going to be enough time to do that.
So how does like having football affect like your interpersonal relationships with people?
a lot of people say that I disappear for 3 months, and I completely agree. Like, a lot of people are like, hey, you know, what are you doing this weekend? Or what are you doing after school today? And I'm like, dog, I got practice.
Dog.
And they're like, again? I'm like, yep. It's 7 days a week, basically.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, what are practices then? Like, what do practices look like?
So we get half an hour or an hour of study hall before practice because grades are important.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have meetings, so we go over film from last game, go over film of the other team, right? And then warm-ups, 2-hour practice, and then home.
Oh.
But then it's not really home, it is you have to watch extra film and do homework, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to bed at like 11 and all that. It's fun, but it's also a lot.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be so hard to manage, just because like it's so physical.
Yeah, like you'll notice if you've never played, but like you're gonna come home and you're going to feel like you are dying.
Yeah.
And then you realize that you have to do it again the next day.
Yeah, that's how I feel with like my Ukrainian dance. Like I come home at like 11:30 and I'm just like, I can barely walk up these stairs.
Yeah, I remember like just laying on my bed one day after practice and just thinking, I'm going to sink into this, and I'm not getting up.
Yeah. Drama 30. Okay, I know you're in first semester, so that's like the lighter show because a lot of younger kids come to it from like the middle schools. Is that what they're called? For like K to whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
I
actually have no clue.
Where middle schools come and they watch the show. But would you prefer to be in the more serious one though?
No, I'm the least serious person you'll ever meet. If I'm not laughing or smiling, I am thinking about it or on the verge of.
That's very in contrast to what you had to do for Drama 20.
Yeah, having to be a literal Nazi and stand in military arrest for a majority of my time, it was really hard on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, because you're always smiling, and like when you were in class. And would you ever consider taking technical theater? Like, yeah, I know you can't, but like, would you consider it?
I would love to have taken technical theater. Like when I had Maloney in grade 10 and he brought it up, I was like, man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But of course I can't. But it'd be awesome if I could. It'd really be cool.
So, but you did have some experience with the tech side of things when you helped out with set design, was it, for Drama 20?
Yeah, me and Greg worked on the set for our show.
How did that go?
It's really fun to see like the idea that you come up with and just kind of see it like be brought to reality, right? Mm-hmm. And like just kind of see it like change. Like we were supposed to have like posts with barbed wire and stuff, and then just kind of see that like get cut out and brought back in and all that. It's super cool to kind of see that happen.
What are you most excited about for like the Drama 30 show?
Oh, just getting to be part of like that big of a production and getting to like go on festival and all that.
Yeah.
Like even just going and watching, you could tell that it is like a big event and a big night.
Yeah. And now you don't have to waste money and go to not waste. I take that back. No. You don't have to spend money and go for the drama journals. That is the worst part about drama.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I did any except for the final one.
How badly did that affect your mark?
My parents looked at my marks and they're like, how the fuck is your drama mark this low? And I'm like, look, I just didn't hand in any written stuff. And they're like, well, why not? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Miss Waslin, like, 'cause I handed one paper copy in and she misplaced it. So it dropped my mark like 15%. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, the comment on the journal that I actually did almost like made me cry, because like I'm like, oh my gosh, she actually meant so well. Right?
Yeah. Well, Miss Waslin is a very new teacher, so I feel like each individual student like means a lot more than if you're like teaching for 40 years.
Yeah, I can tell with Maloney it's very like business, right? Mm-hmm. And I could tell with Waslin like it was very personal, right? Mm-hmm. Because it is her first like directed show, right? That she's done.
Yeah, I think so. It's her first show. Well, definitely her first show with ABJ. Not gonna lie, I was kind of like,
Yeah,
Miss
I
Waslin.
saw Waslin and not Maloney on my schedule, and I was like, you know?
Yeah.
But it ended up being like really good. She ended up being a pretty good teacher, right? But
Yeah.
you could tell some experience kind of shone through sometimes.
Yeah, some lack of experience. I definitely get that. But like, yeah, you live and you learn. You gotta,
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
yeah. So now we're just gonna have to take a quick pee break for 2 seconds, fill up our water bottles, figure out what we're gonna talk about next. See you in a few seconds. Do you watch a lot of movies in your free time?
Yeah, I have a select few that I love, mainly Ocean's 11.
Which one's that about?
So it's George Clooney and Brad Pitt, and they're robbing casinos.
That's sick.
Yeah, I quote it many times over. It's probably the best thing I'm at.
Quoting
My
Ocean's
top
11.
three things are quoting Ocean's 11, not paying attention in class, and solitaire.
I'm so good at solitaire too.
I'm not good at solitaire. I'm just very lucky.
Yeah, I feel like so many card games are just the luck of the draw. You don't really have any control of it.
I pretend to have skill in card games, but everyone knows it's just luck.
Like, what other movies do you like?
Like a lot of sports movies because I
Yeah.
can relate to them the most. But Mean Girls always has a special place in my heart.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic. I really wouldn't expect you to be into Mean Girls.
Everyone is really Callum, Mean Girls, and yeah, you got a problem with that. It is a brilliant movie.
Fight me, buddy, kid. What do you like about Ocean's 11? That
I don't know. I just love the vibe it gives off. It's very it's just so cool. And George Clooney is a great actor and a very attractive man.
no homo.
I mean, maybe a little bit. I mean,
Yeah. Do you watch much theater then?
no, I only go to the Drama 30 productions. I know Citadel Club was brought up once, but again, I just don't have time to.
Yeah, same. I really wanted to do Citadel Club. Oh my god, I can't speak.
It's been I've heard about it and everyone says good things about it, and it'd be cool, but I just time constraints.
Yeah,
right?
it's also extremely expensive.
Yeah, and I already have a lot of other football and all that costs money, right? So
Yeah. Do you watch any TV shows?
I watch Riverdale just because why not? But other than that, I don't watch anything religiously.
Yeah. I just recently got into The Office because of my friends peer pressuring me, mainly Tegan.
Oh, it's good. It's pretty good.
You've watched it?
It's something that I just kind of watched through phases.
Yeah.
I'll watch 3 seasons and then not watch it for another 2 months, and then why not watch it again, right?
That's the same thing with me and reading. I never can read a full book end to end just consistently. I always have to go halfway and then I take a break and then I forget what happened, so I read the half again and then I keep going,
Yeah, I just can't read.
Literally, I've never been taught how to read. All of my essays have been guessing words.
All my essays have been scribbles, and they just give me a pass because they think I have mental issues. And that's what it is.
What's the last book you read?
1984 by Orson Welles.
Is that a good book?
I was only forced to read it because Frandrick said I had to.
Yeah, I bought that because Mr. Morawski told my entire religion class that 2 books that you have to read, should read before Social 30 is 1984 and Brave New World.
1984 was a surprisingly good book. The only problem is I had to listen to Miss Frandrick's voice for a long amount of time.
That's funny. Is she the one who looks super, super young with glasses and...
I don't think she wears glasses. She has really dark hair.
Oh, okay.
From
never mind.
Croatia.
Yeah, because there's this one either counselor or teacher that goes to our school who looks so young, and she takes my bus. So I thought she was a student for the longest time until I went into the counselors for talking about post-secondary, and she was there. I was like, what?
Yeah, I have no idea who that could be.
Do you listen to much music in your free time?
I listen to a lot of music in my free time.
I'm always looking for new stuff, so like kind of suggestions.
Are you into rap? Yeah. I really only listen to like rap and alternative music. Weird combination, I know, but like they're like the only two genres I listen to.
Yeah, I listen to literally everything, but I'm not like a fan of like more modern rap, you know?
Oh, old school stuff I love.
Yeah.
It's definitely different, and I feel like the type of rap I enjoy is like the stuff that has meaning to it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you listen to a lot of like J. Cole songs, it all talks about like real meaningful stuff. Like his album KOD, I loved listening to because it just addressed so many like issues that kids deal with nowadays, right? Like about like abusing drugs and like cheating and all that. Just that kind of stuff. I feel like it's interesting to hear that nowadays because a lot of it's like rapping about just doing drugs, being dumb, right? And I feel like when rappers rap about real issues, I feel like it's a lot better music because it's coming from the heart.
Yeah. That's why I love Gucci Gang. It comes from the heart. It comes from the heart. God, I hate Lil Pump.
He's so dumb.
So full of himself. I feel like 6ix9ine is worse, though.
Oh, I can't stand him, and I don't know why people like him, honestly.
Yeah. You're talking about, like, abusing drugs. What's your opinion on the legalization of marijuana?
I mean, personally, I've never done marijuana, right? But, like, I can kind of see why, because if you look at it, there's been a lot of research done. It should be better for you than smoking cigarettes, correct? Right? Like, just the downside is a lot of people don't support that and don't kind of understand the two different sides of it, right? It's very black and white.
Yeah, I'm personally indifferent, but, like, I feel like anything foreign in your lungs is just bad for you in general, you know?
Well, it was going to happen eventually, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with it personally. I don't see myself using it at all, but I do kind of see why.
Yeah. There's like vaping, cigarettes, and weed. I don't do that stuff, but I'm not going to support it, you know?
I'm not going to say don't legalize it because I see the benefits, I guess. But I'm also not going to say, yeah, now I'm just going to go smoke, right?
Yeah. I also hate people. I've said this before when I was talking with Garth. I hate self-righteous people who just say, "Oh, I don't do this, so you can't do it, or you can't be my friend."
No, that's definitely wrong. It's very restricting, right? Like, people who think that they are truly better than other people are just in the wrong, right? Like, obviously, there's some people who have done terrible stuff, but that I don't necessarily think that makes them worse of a person, right?
Unless it actually changes their character, then...
Like, obviously, there's some exceptions, right? But no one should ever truly think that they're better than someone else.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely agree with that. Like, I know a few people who are super self-righteous or who are super full of themselves, and those are, like, the worst people to be around.
Oh, absolutely. No questions asked, right?
Yeah.
Like, when people can't see that they have flaws, or they understand that they have flaws, but they don't accept them, you can definitely see, like, how it affects their character and what they do.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced any, like, pressure to do, like, marijuana or anything like that?
Yes. Many times.
Yeah. I feel like the football scene, like, a lot of people do that. Those kinds of things between, like, I feel like they drink, like, I've heard that you guys drink a lot, and everybody's 18, I swear.
Yeah, I just find that there's a negative preconception about football players, I guess. Like, when we went to go watch the Drama 30 play as a team, right, you could tell we were already getting eyed down by all of, like, the old people there, right? Because it's a bunch of teenagers walking in football hoodies, right? And I'd find it's, like, the least amount of, like, discrimination possible, but you can still feel it sometimes. Like, when we walk into 7-Eleven to, like, get some snacks and stuff, you can already see the cashiers are eyeing us down, right?
Yeah.
And I just feel like not just like because of NFL players doing a lot of drugs and all that, and a lot of like those rape charges and stuff that happen to be football players. I just feel like it gives negative perception of it.
Mm-hmm. I feel like also movies do that too, with like the negative perception of like the jock versus the nerd. Like the jocks are always like the mean people, which I feel like in Canada it's the complete opposite of what, well, not complete opposite, but like the football players, all of the football players that I've met are all super nice guys. It's the hockey players that are the ass wipes, you know.
Well, like obviously all stereotypes are based in some form of truth, right? But taking theater for me, I feel like was a big step in kind of like breaking that conception of me as a football player, right? Because I feel like it's important that people don't identify me as just a football player.
Yeah, I was definitely shocked when I saw you in my drama 20 class.
Yeah, everyone says that, right?
Yeah, but I also feel like there's a lot of negative connotation around just teenagers in general. So like, I feel like just teenagers in general have a bad rap for being like loud and doing drugs a lot, which also is based in some truth, but I feel like not all teenagers are like that.
Oh no, not at all. Like you might be the most like pure person I've ever met, right?
Thanks, dog.
But like it's based in like experiences, right? Like obviously all cashiers have dealt with like idiots.
Yeah.
That are teenagers that do dumb stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And it just happens to give a negative image of all of them, right?
Yeah. Well, like, it's actually a common occurrence through history that adults are not fans of, like, the teenagers. Like, there's records of some adults saying, oh, all these teenagers are not going to know how to use chalk and chalkboard now that they have all this new spangled paper.
Yeah,
so it's like, I feel like it's like built into like adults to be like, I like what I went through, but I don't like what you guys have now.
Oh, it's absolutely generational. You even see like a mini version of it with us. Like I remember grade 12s hating grade 9s when we were in grade 9, right? And I already don't like the grade 9s, right?
Me too.
It's definitely like generational. Yeah. Without us knowing it. We always say that we're not going to be like that with the younger generation, but
always are.
I just feel like it's bound to happen.
Yeah, it is. But I feel like we just don't like specific groups of grade 9s. Like, I have a few grade 9 friends. Shout out to Hannah Gazzo. But
like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know all grade 9s aren't bad, but it's just experiences I've had with them. It's just like, why are you like this sometimes, right?
I definitely agree. Like, there's some like short grade 9 kid almost like tried to scrap with me until because like they were walking down the hallway. It was a bunch of guys. They were taking up the entire hallway. It was like, I'm not gonna lean against I'm not gonna lean against the wall so you guys can walk in your 5. So I just kept walking straight and like I bumped the kid and he's like, what the hell, man? He looks at me. I just like look him deadpan in the face and he's like, sorry man. I was like,
if that ever happens and it's one of those short grade 9s, I'm just gonna take his hat up and hold it over my head. Like
they're not even on their heads, so you could just take it off either way. So
it's floating basically.
Yeah. Sorry to any grade 9s watching this. I know none of you are, but if you're a good person, stay good.
It's okay. You know who you are, and that goes both ways. If you're a jackass, you know who you are.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like the people playing hockey that are snobs, I feel like they don't know they're being idiots.
I think it's just because they're always in a group of guys with the same mentality, right? And they don't get that outside opinion.
I agree. Yeah. Ugh. Like they always like there's always groups of people that form what I like to call tumors on the they just like clump up like all the way to the middle of the hallway and I'm like, seriously guys, just like, you know?
Yeah, it's like when people just, that's why I try to keep like such a like a diverse like sense of people, right? Around me. So if I like, and I need people who are going to keep it real. Like if I'm being a complete idiot, I know that they're going to check me, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's so important, right? Because you need people who are going to keep you in check and be real with you.
Yeah. That's the worst thing about nowadays, because like if you have a certain opinion, you can go on the internet and you can find anybody any group of people with the same opinion as you, so you don't really have to see the other side of it, you know?
Yeah, I hate it when people get like stuck in their ways with a view on something and they can't see the other side to it, right?
Yeah, or don't take constructive criticism. They take that personally.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you traveled much at all in your life?
I was lucky enough to go on that grade 8 trip when we were at St. Teresa. It was the trip to New York.
Oh, how was that?
It was truly an experience, you know? It truly is the city that never sleeps. Like, you'd wake up, go to use the washroom at like 3 in the morning, lights are still on, people are still on the streets, right?
Yeah.
It's truly amazing to see.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to New York to, like, see Broadway.
Oh, I was lucky enough to be able to see the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, like when it came to Sherwood Park?
No, in New York, in a New York theater.
That's sick. How was that?
Well, it was before I was like super into theater, but looking back at it, it was just an experience. Like, wow. Like, just to see that high level, right? It was just mind-blowing.
Yeah. That's one of my biggest goals to go, and like, not goals, biggest like travel place I want to be, you know?
New York, yeah. We also got to see Murder on the Orient Express, I believe.
Is that a movie or what?
It was another show, I think.
Oh, cool.
So it was like two very different ones. I feel like the Murder on the Orient Express was a bit more lighthearted, right? Mm-hmm. And Phantom of the Opera was just, wow.
What's your dream destination to go with traveling?
Oh, easily Italy.
Like where in Italy? Just like all of
Just
Italy?
generally Italy, right?
Yeah.
I've just seen so many pictures and all that, and I feel like there's just so much to do.
Yeah. That is definitely one for me too, just because there's so much history there between like all of the small states, like Vatican City. There's Rome. There's Venice. Like, so much has happened in Italy.
Exactly. Like, I just feel like there's so much to do there.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to like, say like Britain or something, right? There's like London, maybe a couple other spots, but I just feel like Italy just has so much to see, learn, do, and experience.
I agree. I've always wanted to go to China as well. Just, I feel like that'd be such a culture shock, but like not a bad culture shock, you know?
Yeah, like Japan is probably like my second one to go to. I mean, I'm not going to say they're similar because I don't want to like offend, but like that kind of like ideologies that they have are so like interesting and so different, and I feel like it'd be so cool to experience it myself, right?
Yeah. Where else have you been?
I've also been to Hawaii. That was a family trip in grade 9 spring break.
Cool.
We didn't do much, but it's more just being able to experience like the views and the beach.
Yeah. Oh, I remember when I went to Hawaii, the first thing I felt when I got off the plane was just like the humidity hit me like a truck.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna drown because of the air. Like, honestly,
that'd be so funny, just drowning in air.
the pale Albertan boy steps off the plane, right?
Steps off of Air Canada.
Yeah, it was like the contrast between what you get out of going to like a city like New York and going to Hawaii was really cool. You get to see like the concrete jungle, right? Mm-hmm. The kind of like the tall buildings, the subways and all that. And then you go to Hawaii and you get to see nothing but like open ocean, like the trees and everything. Yeah. I feel like the contrast and getting those two different experiences were definitely like interesting.
What do you prefer more, the human like building side of it or the nature side of traveling?
I really like the human side of it, just to kind of like see what we're capable of. Like, nature's amazing, but like I just feel like I enjoy more like being able to go to like a museum or a game or a Broadway show, right? That stuff I find is a bit more interesting to me than like climbing a mountain.
Huh. Cool. Shit, what else did we say?
Kitchen renos.
Oh, yeah, you're renovating your kitchen right now.
Yeah, so I haven't had a kitchen for about 2 months now. I've had to hand wash all of my dishes. No oven. We made like a sketchy kitchen in our basement. Like, we just set up a sink and a microwave, and that's what we've been living off of, basically.
Oh, that's funny. Have you renovated any other parts of your house?
Well, I've moved quite a few times, right? And I've seen a lot of like renovations done, right? But this one has definitely been like a major overhaul. Like the flooring's gone. We basically took down all of the cabinets, completely took everything apart.
So this is all like a family thing? You're doing it?
Well, we hired like our family friend contractor. Like he's been doing stuff for us for like years and years, right? So he's done all like the professional stuff, but like putting shelves together, putting cabinets together, moving furniture, that's all been like me and my dad.
Nice. Have you ever tried any other types of art other than theater? Have you ever tried like drawing, painting?
I write sometimes. It's super unprofessional, right? It's just kind of something I need to do to kind of like just get thoughts out, right?
Yeah, I definitely have those moments too, because I have this book that I write in for sometimes, and sometimes I can't sleep because I have this one line in my head that I have to write it down.
It's less like one line. It's more like when you're like processing stuff. And
yeah, well, it turns into like poems and things like that, but...
Yeah, like it's just sports normally is like how I express or get feelings out or kind of like, you know, release energy, I guess. And just sometimes when I don't have that opportunity, writing is something that I do to get ideas out, get thoughts out, kind of comprehend what is going on, right? Just that kind of stuff.
What kind of writing is it? Is it like poetry? Is it...
It's almost like journal, but like theological ones. Like it's less writing about what happened and more writing about why it's happening, right? Kind of trying to figure myself out more than explaining what's happening.
That's really cool. I never thought of you as that kind of guy.
Yeah.
I never thought about you in a lot of ways, and my perception of you has changed a lot, especially in this last year between theater and like right now I'm learning a lot.
Like I just think it's important that people don't get stuck on one thing and they kind of diversify what they can do, right? Like I hear about hockey kids playing hockey all year round. I'm like, I just couldn't do that.
Yeah, need a little shake it up.
Because then you don't become a well-versed person.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I've tried a lot of sports when I was a kid, but like none of it stuck. Kind of like you with other sports, you know?
Like, if you don't enjoy doing it, then there's no point in doing it, right? Like, that's just kind of happened with me with, like, sports and stuff. Like, there's some where I tried it for 1 year, and it's like, not a fan, right?
Can you skate well?
No, I am terrible at skating. I've spent all of my winters in a gym.
Oh, yeah, for, like, football, how are those, like, what are they called when you have to work out a certain amount every day? Don't you have, like, certain things you have to do?
Oh, like a workout program?
Yeah.
I don't follow mine. Like, I have, like, the Huskies, the junior program in Edmonton. I follow their upper body stuff, and I work with a, like, lower body training guy. Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah. Oh, you have played with the U of A team. Or not played with, but you took a class or something.
I've done, like, fieldwork stuff with them, right? It's definitely eye-opening to see, like, what I have to, like, be able to do to play there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that they're, like, 23 and I am 17, right? But it's interesting to see where you have to be if you want to be able to play there, right?
Would you play there?
I would love to play there. It'd be pretty cool.
Then why are you going to go to McEwen?
Grades, probably. And if I'm just, like, not good enough to play at U of A, then I'm not, right? That's what junior football's for. Like, we're lucky enough to have 2 junior programs in Edmonton.
Yeah.
The Wildcats and the Huskies. And they're, like, a medium in between high school and university. So, say a guy isn't good enough to play university at the moment, he'll most likely go and play for a junior program for a couple years and then be able to play for university.
So you're going to do that?
I'm hoping to, yeah. I think it'd be good for me to kind of take a year to develop in junior and all that.
Cool. And isn't your dad going to go coach for the U of A?
He has been offered to coach linebackers at U of A, and he's loving that.
That's cool.
Like, a real issue he had with head coaching is that it's less coaching, and it's very, like, managing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of, like, parent meetings and all that, and that's not, like, why he coaches. He coaches to be around the players and to be around football itself, right? So I think he's really enjoying being able to coach again.
Yeah. But when you had your dad coaching, was there only him as the coach, or did you have multiple coaches?
There's a lot of coaches when it comes to a team. So there's the head coach, obviously, and then you have your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. So the offensive coordinator calls, like, the plays and stuff, and the defensive coordinator calls the defensive plays.
Cool.
Right? So they come up with ideas and schemes and stuff that you're going to run, right? And then there's, like, positional coaches. So quarterback coach works with quarterbacks every practice. Receivers coach works with receivers coach, and so on and so on and so on.
Wow. I never knew that much went into football.
Yeah, it's a big operation. Like, there's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that need to click.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been on a team where not nobody, but there has been, like, one gear out of whack?
There's always a gear out of whack, right?
Really?
Like, there's always going to be, and it's never the same gear, right? Like, some days a coach won't get along with another coach. Some days a player won't get along with another player. Some days players won't get along with coaches, right? There's always something that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can do about that. It's just something you need to be prepared for, right?
Yeah. Do you play any video games?
I do.
Which ones?
I think the one I've played the most is Skyrim. I have clocked in so many hours on that game. It is embarrassing.
I still have to play that. I bought it recently. I really want to get into that, actually.
I've played it religiously. That, Madden, 2K, and Black Ops.
Yeah, I've never been good at shooting games.
It's less that I'm good at them and more that I'm interested in them, right? Like,
yeah.
That's what made me mad about a lot of the recent Call of Duties, is the campaigns are just not interesting.
Yeah.
Like, the Black Ops campaign is so, like, cool to be part of that, like, Vietnam Cold War era stuff.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, like, it's so cool. It's so interesting.
So what is the campaign in that game?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but
just give me, like, the gist.
It has some... So you got captured when you're going to kill Fidel Castro.
Oh, yeah?
And then you're taken to a Russian work camp because there's secret alliances going on between Cuba and Soviet Russia.
A quote-unquote secret.
Yeah.
Gulag.
And then you end up being brainwashed, but somebody interferes with your brainwashing. So throughout the rest of the campaign, you're fighting with this, like, two different ideologies that are brainwashed within you.
That's so cool.
That was a really bad explanation, and I'm sorry I did not do it justice.
That's fair enough, yeah. I'm more into, like, the real-time strategy games.
I'm not good enough at managing to do those.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the game Total War?
Yes, I have.
Oh, frick, that's so much fun. I recently downloaded a mod for the one game I have. It's like a World War I version, so now you can... Like, the artillery is so cool, just, like, the historical aspect of it. Like, I really like old uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Napoleon era, where everybody would just stand in a line and shoot. You didn't have to camouflage, so you could get creative with what you were wearing, and it was just, like, so cool.
Like, I've been super into, like, Battlefield 1 as of late.
Oh,
just
yeah.
because it is so hyper historically accurate, right?
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. Like, I've never, like, been super into watching movies about the wars and stuff.
Yeah.
But to be, like, interactive and in a part of it has really, like, boosted, like, my want to know more about it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to say this right now. My favorite uniform is the Belgian uniform. It's, like, all black, but it's, like, an all black trench coat. It just looks sick.
I've always liked the Nazi uniforms.
Yeah, I agree.
That has nothing to do with my political ideologies. I just think they're sick.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with, like, the way their helmets go, the gray trench coat. They just look
They're
so
just very, like, well put together,
Yeah.
and it reflected in their, like, battles and stuff, right?
Even in like World War I, when they had like the spikes on the top of the head.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Germans didn't realize how they were the bad guys, because on their hats they had skull and crossbones and they had a spike on their head. So like how is that not like,
you know, when you're stuck in your ways, you're stuck in your ways, right?
Fair enough. Let's just take a full turnaround. Do you believe aliens exist?
Absolutely. There's no way that this universe is this big and we are the only life forms out there.
But do you think that humans have already come in contact with aliens before?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so would you like to encounter an alien in your lifetime?
In my lifetime, yes. I think it'd be interesting to see a entire another species that is not from our solar system.
Yeah. So does like the whole space thing like interest you?
It really does, and the only problem is there's so much to it, and there's so much that you have to understand about it. But the idea of almost infinite space outside of our like universe and solar system and everything is just so cool to think how vast this place really is, right?
Yeah. And like the expanding universe. So how the universe is always continuously expanding. It's almost impossible that we don't share, because with all the millions and billions of light years in our galaxy and in our universe, how can there not be another life form that just so happened to form?
Like, that's my thought exactly. There's no way that, like, you've seen the video of like Earth compared to the next one, right? Mm-hmm. There's no way that a place this vast only houses human beings on this planet, right? Mm.
What would you expect like an alien to look like?
I have no clue. I don't believe in the little gray man thing. Yeah. I feel like that's wrong, but heck, they could look just like us for all we know, right?
Yeah. Cuz I've like read about aliens and things, and I've found out that to have an intelligent species with cognitive abilities, you have to have hands or something to be able to manipulate the world around you, and you have to be smart enough to make tools. So like octopi, they could just look like massive octopi, you know?
For all we know, yeah. For all we know, octopuses could be aliens, and we just don't know it.
They look like aliens. Those are like the few animals that I'm afraid of, is an octopus. It just creeps me the hell out. Just looks disgusting, you know?
Yeah, no, I see it.
Like, I saw a video of it because certain types of octopi can like crawl on land for a bit and then go into a different pool. It just, when they're out of water, it's worse. Because they just look slimy, and they just, ugh.
Yeah, I guess who's not sleeping tonight?
Me. Do you believe, like, Area 51 houses aliens?
Not really. I feel like that's a bit of a forced, like, cliche almost.
Yeah.
There's definitely a spot where we house alien stuff, but I just don't think it's Area 51. I think it's a cover.
What do you think they do at Area 51? Or do you think it's just, like, to
It's a cover. Yeah. I think it's just something, like, because you wouldn't be, like, that open about it if everyone knows about Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
That's dumb. The government's smarter than that. Area 51 is a cover.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that'd be... Yeah.
All the guys who actually think Area 51, they're just buying into the trick that they're laying down.
I never actually thought about it that way. Huh.
Area 51's a cover. You heard it here first.
Well, that's a positive note to end on. Do you have anything you want to say as like a last hurrah to the audience?
Thanks for putting up with me for this long.
Well, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.